Hi, my name is Lenny Fejeran, and this is What's Cooking. Today, I'm going to show you how to make one of my all-time favorite meals and favorite things to prepare because it's so easy to do. Cutting beef shank and oxtail. One of my favorite things to make for my family, and also one of my favorite things to enjoy after a long day. So I want to break it down for you guys so that it's as easy as possible. So this is just one way to make beef shank and oxtail kadu. I'm going to show you how to do it. So you start with the beef. You always want to get some nice looking beef shanks, nice and red, good amount of fat on the outside. The bone is super important. Definitely want to make sure you got some good marrow right down the center. A lot of the flavor is going to come out from all this area right here, the fat and the bone. Like oxtail, it's very fatty in the meat and on the outer sides, and they have a nice bone in the middle as well, which is going to help with your stock. We're going to actually give it a nice sear in the pan so that it kind of coats it and covers it, and you also get that charred flavor that gets into the kadu itself. First, I'm going to start with chopping up some onions. I'm going about a half an onion here. I want to focus on fresh local vegetables to kind of bring my soup up and make it a little bit more hearty, and it's also a nice way to get your kids to eat their vegetables. Now with the onions, I'm going to saute some garlic, and this you don't actually have to cut down too much. You can just cut these cloves in half or in 3. So we're going to go ahead and saute the onions and the garlic and sear the beef real quick. So we're going to coat the pan with a little bit of oil, get that bottom nice and coated. And once that oil is nice and hot, you're just going to throw your onions in there, and of course our garlic. Season with a little bit of salt and pepper. That cooked down real nice, caramelized. The onions are going to start to get translucent and start to get soft. So total cooking time for this soup is going to be about 1 hour 45 minutes to 2 hours. I like to actually put just a little bit of soy sauce. It kind of helps with the color of the kadu. And once it gets nice and soft, we're going to add our meat in. Just start to sear that beef. You want to get a nice sear on both sides. Keep your fire on a high heat. Okay, so now we got a good char on both sides. All right, and now I'm gonna add my crushed tomatoes. A half a can of crushed tomatoes. 2 quarts of water. Now you definitely wanna get a good amount of water in there. So you wanna be careful with your salt to water ratio, and if it's a little too salty later, you can just add a little bit more water. Definitely wanna make sure that you're adding enough water to submerge the meat completely. Then keep an eye on it. So with my attempts to measure ingredients for this kadu, I might have added too much salt. So I'm gonna go down from a 1/3 cup to about a 1/4 cup of salt. Got our black pepper in there. Okay, now everything's to taste. So you just wanna go ahead and give it a stir. I'm gonna let it sit. That's gonna be boiling on the stove for a good hour. This is an 1 hour and 45 long process. So at that hour is our next step. We're gonna add in potatoes, and we're gonna add in some baby carrots. Now we're gonna let that cook with the meat, tenderize for another 35 to 40 minutes. And then we're gonna add the rest of the vegetables you see here in front of me. Not much prep on the vegetable side. String beans are super easy to prep. You just get them rinsed, cut the tips off, and then just cut them in nice, about 2-inch strings, good bite size. Now I'm gonna cut up the zucchini, and this you can leave real chunky as well. I like to just be able to just throw everything in there and just kind of forget about it. These are really soft and they soak up liquid really quickly. Cut thick enough so they don't start to turn to mush. Okay, so we're about 1 hour and 15 minutes into cooking our beef and our stock, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw in these baby red potatoes and these baby carrots. Nice and easy. You got your kadu boiling for over 1 hour. You're heading up towards the 1 hour and 30 mark. Your meat's gonna start to get tender. A good way to check on it is just to kind of get a fork and just kind of press on it and see how tender it actually is. See that oxtail? If it starts falling apart, then you know you're ready to go. Good. Looking good. Now we're gonna go ahead and skim all this oil from the top. Good thing about oil, it's always gonna rise in your soup, your kadu. Now remember those potatoes and carrots that we put in right at the hour 15 mark? Check if they're ready too by using your fork and just kind of pressing in. The easier your fork goes into potato, the better it is. Carrots are holding up real nice too, nice and tender. Perfect. By the way, if you don't know, kadu actually just means soup in the Chamorro language. For my kadu, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw these in there whole. A couple pieces of bok choy. I'm gonna put my cabbage in there whole. String beans right down the center. And my local zucchinis. Submerge that a little bit in the juice. A pinch of salt, pepper above the vegetables. Cover it back up. Let that simmer for about 10 more minutes and your kadu is ready to go. So now we have this beautiful bowl of piping hot beef and oxtail kadu right in front of me. The colors are vibrant. The fresh local vegetables come right through. Beef shank, super tender. I wish I could share this with all of you, but I'm hoping that you guys are cooking this for yourselves, your friends, and your family at home. Thanks again for watching. This is What's Cooking. Please visit us again next time. Si Dios masi, Zana Dios.